to center ourselves by thinking about the lyrics in this song. I come to the garden. And the garden is a place of consciousness, right? It's a quiet place. I want you to immediately go into using your imagination. And I want you to please not move your papers from this point forward. And remember that we're already in alignment with something, right? And that we're already hooked up with something, right? And that if you believe like I believe that I am doing something that we often humorously deal with as downloading. But that's a serious awareness to be in. And that is that you're sensing that you're receiving something. Now I'm receiving something, the message for today. Let me give you a little story about how today's message came. And the reason that this is important is because I want you to feel that this is very real. Pearl, where is she in the other room?
Yeah.
Esther. There are a couple of others of you who are very Henry, seriously mentioned from time to time their awareness of the deep spirituality, deep level of realism and reality of what's going on in this place in the moment. They're very much aware of it. Not that you're not, but they like to acknowledge it and express it and declare it. I want to tell you how right on they are. Oh yeah. I'm telling you that this is real, that we are experiencing here. I woke up at 3 a.m. I went to bed laboring on something. And it was from a question that Gibbons asked a couple of weeks ago. So when you ask questions and when you share, I don't dismiss it. You know, I leave with that on my mind, especially if I feel that I've tried to answer you, but it's not complete, or I feel that you haven't received it on the level of clarity that I think that you should leave with. I still work with it. And so I went to bed last night with one thought on my mind. And at 3 a.m. the clarity was there. So I just went to my computer and I started channeling, transmitting, capturing what was coming through my mind. And then I was led just to Google something. And it just took me right to somebody's writing on where they were talking about the difference between belief and faith. It just popped up. It just went right there and it popped up, and all of that came through. So on your pass out, you have in the footer at the bottom something that you're going to start keeping as a record for 10 years from now, 15 years from now. You look back and you say, this came through Lamont at 3 a.m. on October 2nd. It's coming through in real time. So this that you're receiving now came through at 3 a.m. on the dot. And what it is the topic is belief versus faith. Say that. Belief versus faith. Come on. Belief versus faith. And one more time. Belief versus faith. Oh. It is done unto you as you believe. Jesus asked Peter, where is your faith? It's So we're understanding a clear understanding of faith today than you've ever known. Now, when I talk about faith today, suspended against belief, I need you to bring it to a place that whatever, as you understand and what you understand, I need you to bring it to your practice in imagination. You want to understand how faith works in the context of you doing your guided meditation, your healing meditation. Hey, come on. This is what was given to me this morning early to give to you, because he just takes us deeper and deeper. Haven't you noticed that? We go deeper and deeper. Haven't you noticed that we go higher and higher? But we're not changing the theme. We're not changing the topic. We're not changing it's on the same thing. Imagination and feeling is the secret. We're not leaving that at all. So the talk today helps you get into a deeper experience of the feeling in your imagination, where you're going to that place of fulfillment, going to the end and the realization that it is done, it is finished, I'm living in it, walking in it, being it. That's what today's talk continues to help you to do, by understanding how belief and faith works together in your imagination. Belief versus faith. The bottom line that you're going to end up with in your understanding is, look at your pass out. What's under belief versus faith? Knowing versus doing. And that's where it is. Knowing is your belief, and faith is your doing. Sure you know, and sure you believe, but the Bible says, blessed are ye, be not hearers only, see, but doers. So in your guided meditation and in your prayer work, what you are doing is doing. You're applying, and you are applying your faith. There's a scripture that says faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. Peter said, you guys are talking too much for me. Peter said, if you call me, if you bid me, I will do what? I'll come. I'll come out of this boat and walk on that water. Well, it was his belief and what he knew. He believed it, but he didn't have enough faith. So he said to Jesus, if you call me, I'll come, because I believe. Uh-oh. What was he asking for? He was aware that he believed, but he didn't have enough faith. But he had enough sense to know, and to know what he needed. So, where does this faith come? Well, trust and faith, same thing, it's a synonym. In other words, I trust in you. I have faith in you that if you call me and tell me that I can do it, my belief will be in action. That's what faith is. Faith is your belief in action, and you're doing it. Okay. But he knew that it was possible, because that wasn't normal. It's not normal for a human being just to go out there on his own belief and walk on water. You can't do that without faith. You need to slow it down. Because what we're saying is that in our meditation and in our prayer, you're doing it because you believe. You're praying because you believe. You've had enough stuff pumped into you, knowledge and wisdom and truth and all evidence that you believe. But now, he trusted in Jesus. He trusted and he had faith in Jesus. You come here because you believe, but what's helping you to grow deeper and deeper and higher is because of your faith in your facilitator, your faith in your teacher, your faith in your instructor. You see what I'm saying? You have faith in me. You have faith in this teaching that you can be helped to go further and further to the point of demonstration. But I can do something that will cause you to lose your faith in me. Am I right?
Yes.
I can. I can say something, do something, eventually deny it. So you lost your faith. But that hasn't affected your belief. Let me keep using some examples. You probably can help me, but I don't want you to because it'll take too much time. But you probably can think of some examples of how this faith thing that I'm talking about. Wolfgang Goethe, that was his first name. Johann Wolfgang. You've heard of Goethe, right? A German writer, Goethe, Goethe. He said, willing is not enough. Willing is not enough. We must do. Willing is not enough. We must do. So, I gave you that as a background. Now, all that I said before I go into, now the sharing and the reading is coming from Seedtime and Harvest by Neville. Seedtime and Harvest is one of the 8 or 9 books in that book called The Essential Collection by Neville, a collection of books. Seedtime and Harvest is one of those books. And in chapter 6, Neville writes about, his subject is time, times, and a half. What he is doing is interpreting and giving you a practical illustration of what that means from the book of Daniel. And where is it, Daniel? Well, Daniel chapter 12, 2 verses 6 and 7. And in that Old Testament book, he is discerning, translating, and interpreting for you a practical prayer usage in your guided meditation. And it reads like this. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a half. What shall be? That's how long it shall be. How long shall what be? To the end of these wonders. And what I see Neville is saying here, that the question is, from a spiritual sense, is that how long shall it be that these imaginations, these wonders, these prayer requests, these wonders, these aspirations, these goals, these needs, these whatever, these wonders, these imaginations, these wonders, these things that I'm desiring to create in my imagination, you see what I'm saying? How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? As you're falling to sleep at night in prayer about something. These wonders, got it? Okay, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And so in revelation, the revelation of the meaning of that. See, this is what would have come through Swedenborg. This is what would have come through a mystic. This is what would have come through a sage. This is what would come through the so-called psychic or the mystic or the healer. Do you see? Quimby. It says, then it shall be how long? For a time, times and a half. That is what was given. The interpretation of time, times and a half is what we deal with now. That's what Neville is translating in this chapter, seed time and harvest. He says, how long? Do it. Read that with me.
Do it.
Come on. Over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality. That's how long. Can't get lazy because it hasn't happened yet. Can't get lazy because you haven't seen the evidence yet. Can't get lazy, you can't get tired. You don't get weary. You've been doing this for 6 months. I'm tired. That stuff don't work. Just briefly, I can't stop but I'm flooring.
I was just saying, when Jesus said 70 times 7, is that the same thing?
No.
No?
Whole different subject. Okay. Do it over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality. How long? And so he's going to explain to you what this time, times and a half means. Now the question asked of him was, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And his answer was, a time, times and a half. Do it over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality. A time means to perform the imaginary action, which implies perform the imaginary action which implies the fulfillment of the wish. So, we've said to you over and over and over that you have to capture the vision, the imagination of what this thing looks like when it's fulfilled, when you're living in the end, when you got it, when you're wearing it, when you're sleeping with it, or when it's gone and you don't have to sleep with it no more, or whatever it is. Whatever it is that you're walking and that you're running when you couldn't before, that you're doing, that you're absent from the pain, or that you are, or the healed, or the relationship is healed, somebody's whatever it is, it says perform the imaginary action, which implies the fulfillment of the wish. That's the time. Then it's going to explain the times, the next times, and then the and a half. What is it? Time, times, and a half. That's the time. Then it's going to explain the times with an S. And then it's going to explain and a half. So you got the time, right? The time means to perform the imaginary action which implies the fulfillment of the wish. Now times, the next part, mean to repeat the imaginary action over and over again. Got that? Let's thread it together. And half means the moment of falling asleep while performing the imaginary action. The moment of falling asleep while performing the imaginary action. For such a moment usually arrives before the predetermined action is completed, which simply means that oftentimes you'll fall asleep before you complete the first step, second step. So now you can set aside the ego questions. I fell asleep, so what? That ain't a bad thing. You're not just doing this thing 1 or 2 times. You made a commitment to this. And you're going to hang in here until you get your stuff. Until that healing is manifested. Until your answer shows up. So whatever you fall asleep sometimes every now and then, it comes under the category, shut up. Just cut through the chase. Just shut up and do this thing. and stop asking all those silly questions. Just do it. Practice it until your answer breaks through. Don't get tired. Don't get weary. Don't give up. I press toward the mark of the high calling. Press on. Therefore, this moment can be said to be a half or a part of a time. Time, times, and a half. That's the complete composition of the guided healing meditation. Right there. Ms. Pearl, Ms. Esther. You're right. This is some deep stuff. This is some deep stuff. He says a number of years ago, he's given an example of this. Neville writing is replete with examples and demonstrations. Am I right? Yeah. Look at this one. A number of years ago, a widow living in the same apartment house as me, same building that he was living in, came to see me about her cat. The cat was her constant companion and dear to her heart. The cat was, however, 8 years old, very ill and in great pain. The cat hadn't eaten for days and would not move from under her bed. 2 veterinarians had seen the cat and advised the woman that the cat could not be cured and that she might as well put it to sleep immediately. So she got a professional opinion. So she got the doctor's opinion. Now some people, most people would accept the opinion of whoever tells them anything. There's no hope. My telephone has been ringing. It rang about 12 times yesterday and 6 times last night, and each time the caller ID said prison. Calling from a jail. Well, I have made a blanket announcement for years. I tell everybody, if you ever get in a situation where you need to call somebody, save your diamond, save your first call, don't call me. Yes. So the children I raised understood that. If you ever go out there and get in trouble and you need to call somebody, you better call auntie somebody, uncle somebody, but don't call me. I will not answer the phone. So my phone rang all day to think of this. I said, oh no. So I still don't know who it is. And haven't done any investigation to try to find out who it is. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So, I don't know what that has to do with this. Just I'm going to tell you how it somehow it just came in. So I'll tell you how that deals with this when I go back and start again. Oh, opinion. So at this point, the person has to now, who's making the call, you even in a situation like that, you have to be careful of what you're believing, because there's a way out for that person. Yeah. Even for that person in that situation, there's an answer, there's a way out, and there's a solution. Yeah. Now I know what it's got to do with you. Let people solve their problems. Mm-hmm. Let people solve their problems.
Oh, yes, not you.
When you get 72 years old, too many old people are still solving people's problems. Yeah. And what is your opinion about that situation? So my opinion is that you'll work it out. So you'll work it out. 2 veterinarians had seen the cat and advised the woman that the cat could not be cured and that he should be put to sleep immediately. Well, Neville said, this is what I did. I suggested that that night, she told a woman,
Yes.
before you fall asleep, create in your imagination some action that would indicate that the cat was its former healthy self.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
This is what we've been talking about for 3 years, you guys.
Yeah.
This is what I'm telling you now. This is what we're bringing it down, holding it down to the state of practice. So what you should do now, think about whatever that you're praying for, praying about, praying to change. You've got to create in your imagination some action that would indicate whatever. Your former state of health. Get an old picture of yourself before the condition was experienced. Do you see? That's an example. And have that picture of yourself and talk to that picture of yourself as you fall asleep. Before the opinion, before you accepted the opinion of the professional. Before you accepted the opinion of the MRI report, the blood analysis, whatever it is. Before the situation with the housing arose, before the transportation problem occurred, before the impasse in this relationship, when the relationship was harmonious between you, got some more pictures around. Go back to that state. You know, Neville has a one chapter where he talks about revising the past. Same thing. So I advise her to do it and do that what? Over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality. Do what over and over again? Well, create in your imagination some action that would indicate that the cat, the state of the cat was in before he got sick. Do it over and over again. This, she promised I'll do this, however she said. This she promised to do. Then there's a however. Now, this takes care of your howevers and your buts. But, I get tired. You know. Faith is, see, here comes faith. Belief. So, this was her belief. She decided to implement and put forth her belief, but her problem that was lacking here was faith. Our topic is belief versus faith. So we're clarifying belief versus faith. Belief and faith. So here's the other part. That's belief. She said she promised to do it. Why? Because she believed. However, she had lack of faith. Just because your faith is lacking is where we get tripped up sometimes. And we're kind of like too hard on ourselves. And you need to give yourself a break. And you need to chill. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about your lack of faith. That don't mean nothing when it comes to prayer, when it comes to God. He says, where is your faith? O ye of little faith. Faith as a grain, as a mustard seed, which means chill out. You don't need all of that. You just need faith. But you're worried because you don't have big faith, strong faith, a lot of faith. Chill. You know what the size of a mustard seed is? You can't even, you need a magnifying glass to see it. Just use that much. And it's amazing the miracle working power of a little bit of faith.
Yeah.
This creative guided meditation that you're doing in your mind as you're falling asleep is mustard seed faith. You're not even worried about it. You know what? God just wants you to take a step, just a movement, just a little bit. That's all he needs. Then he grabs it and it labels it, it expands, it rises, and it bursts forth into an awesome nuclear power. However, either from her lack of faith in my advice or from lack of faith in her own ability to carry out the imaginary action, okay, I told her to do it over and over again until it takes on the tones of reality. Then she promised to do it. However, either from her lack of faith in my advice or from her lack of faith in her own ability to carry out this imaginary action, so she asked her niece to spend the night with her. Now, this request was made so that if the cat were not well by morning, the niece would take it to the veterinarians, and she, the owner, would not have to face such a dreaded task herself. Let's take a look at that. I'm telling you, it simply means stop being hard on yourself. Stop thinking that it takes all of that. And one thing that we will get down on ourselves is because you've been doing this for a whole year and there hasn't been any results that you would want to see. Maybe there's a reason for that. And this clears that up. Maybe you're thinking that there's so much more that you need to do, or so much more that you haven't done, and all of those webs, cobwebs, need to be out of your mind. All that stuff means nothing. Those are distractions of the ego. That's a waste of time. Let's collapse some time by saying that by the end of this day, all of that is cleared up, because in spite of all of this, that woman's cat was healed. That's where we're going. That's the next line. Well, let's see what was in her mind. But what was she doing? She was practicing over and over again all through that night. The veterinarian told her there's no hope. This cat is not going to live through the night. I'm not going to treat this cat. Take it home. Or leave it here. We can go ahead and give it a shot and take it out of its misery. So she began, so what did she do? She started practicing what Neville told her to do. And what was she practicing? Seeing that cat in the state of health that it was in before it got sick. And she practiced that over and over again, even though she told her niece, come spend the night in case that cat's not doing well in the morning, you can take him to the veterinarian. So she did it. So what was she practicing at this point? She was practicing faith. It was her belief now transformed into action, and action is faith. Create imagination. When you're doing that every night, you're practicing your faith. You're putting your faith in action that your belief may be realized. The purpose of today is to motivate you as a coach, as a facilitator. Don't give up. Keep on doing it. That night, she settled herself in an easy chair and began to imagine the cat was romping by her side. Come on now. She imagined that the cat was romping beside her, scratching at the furniture and doing many things that she would not normally have allowed that cat to do. But what was she doing? Coming into the imagination, creative imagination, getting into the feeling of reality and realization. See yourself on that stage in front of an audience doing a one-man show in command with people coming from everywhere to see you, and see yourself in the end getting congratulations of how wonderful this. Did you do it?
Yes, sir.
Did you do it?
Yes.
And what? The imagination brought it to pass. Now you see yourself on the screen being shown in theaters all over the world, and see yourself walking down the red carpet and giving Reverend Armand a ticket at the door. Will call. Everywhere I go, there's a will call for you. There's a will call for you. There's a will. And see him going to the, you got to do that. And then see him calling you, hear him calling you, say, thank you for that will call ticket that you never. That's part of it. That is it. And you do it over and over and over until it becomes a reality.
That night she settled herself in an easy chair and began to imagine the cat was roping beside her, scratching at the furniture and doing many things she would not normally have allowed. Each time she found that her mind had wandered from its predetermined task. Well, that's in the number 2 phase. Time. That's times. Right here, times. Right in here is the times. Each time she found that her mind had wandered from its predetermined task to see a normal, healthy, frisky cat, she brought her attention back to the room and started her imaginary action, what? All over again. You get tired. You get frustrated. You've been doing this for 3 whole days. Off and on for 6 months. Every now and then for a whole year. And no results. It's those breaks where your problem is. It's those breaks. Continuity. No continuity, no consistency, no persistence. This she did over and over again until finally. Come on now, church. Until finally. In a feeling of relief. Finally you get that feeling of relief. She dropped off to sleep. That's the and a half. Still seated in her chair. She hadn't gone to bed yet. So you done been gone to bed 2 hours ago. I'm sleeping. I'm tired. Still sitting in her chair, which means that she was not asleep, but she was slumbering. Slumbering is powerful. I was just slumbering. Why don't you go to sleep? You're sitting up here slumbering. That's your problem. Go to bed, go to sleep. Well, you ain't working on nothing. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, she was awakened. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, she was awakened by the cry of her cat. He was standing by her side, standing by the chair, trying to get her attention, got her attention, and led her to the kitchen where he was begging for food. This cat that was supposed to be dead according to the opinion of the professional, of the doctor, of the veterinarian. There is no hope. She fixed him a little warm milk, which he quickly drank and cried for more. How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? A time, times, and a half. Do you see that time, times, and a half working in there?
Yes.
And then Job chapter 33, verses 35. No, chapter 33, verses 15 and 16 says what? In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instructions. What I want you to know, that the work that you have done and the work that you are doing, it's time for you to cash in. It's real. You've done some real serious work. And it's stuff stored up in heaven that's ready to express through here. It's time for you to take your check to the bank. Cash in. And let it come on and express through. Just get back to your work. Keep on doing it. It's about to break through. But you have to go back and you have to be consistent and persistent and don't give up. Why? These little moments where you have fallen asleep, you have no idea how far advanced forward to the end that your work has become. That you've gone. So you don't give up. It says, he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instructions. Within your consciousness now, there is gained wisdom, knowledge. Your consciousness has been programmed toward the end, the realization of your aspiration, your choir request, your prayer request, your healing demo, whatever it is. Yet, when you slump, do you get it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't get this if you're not what? Peculiar. Come on. If you're not peculiar and weird and odd and different and strange in your thinking and mystical and psychic and all of that stuff, you can't get this through the normal thinking and your human mind and your conscious mind. This is a subliminal thing. So let me read something to you. Let me see, did I get it? Capture it for you. Yeah, I did. I'll close with this. I got this from Wikipedia or Google or somewhere. On sleep versus slumber. So these moments when you fall asleep, you've been discounting that and you think that's all part of the success. That's all part of the program. That's all part of the thing. Don't give up on that. Don't discount that. Go ahead and fall asleep and, just, okay, tonight I didn't succeed, or tomorrow night, go back again. But realize that those moments when you had that flash, fall asleep and wake up, it could be 30 seconds. Realize the power of that. Here's what happened. One of the main differences between sleep and slumber is that sleep is normally accompanied by a dream, whereas slumber is a state of the mind that is not accompanied by a dream. In short, it can be said that sleep is qualified by a dream, whereas slumber is not qualified by a dream. Now, to understand that, just get the tape CD and listen to it over and over and see what Spirit tells you. But here's the next paragraph. In sleep, you would have the subconscious mind. In sleep, you would have the subconscious mind inactive, whereas in slumber, the subconscious mind remains active. So when you kind of fall asleep, remember what we talked about, suggestion into auto-suggestion? See where all of that falls in place? See where we've talked about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind all these years? You see how this falls in place? You see where we've arrived at? It says, in sleep, you would have the subconscious mind inactive, where in slumber, you would have the subconscious mind remaining active. It is believed that the subconscious mind becomes one with the supreme bliss in slumber. This is the reason why slumber is often called as sleep. And so it is.
Reverend Amon, I have been talking to my doctors and friends and family that it was time for me to give up my walker. I was becoming too dependent on it, but I never would do it. And then the Sunday when we were going to see Daryl, I said, I can't have a walker to go into no theater. And so I said, I'm not going to use it. And I haven't used it since.
Because she had 2 knee surgeries. And I've been trying to get her off of this walker.
2 knee surgery. Wait a minute, I'm trying to add to what you're saying. 2 knee surgeries recently.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I've been telling her, you still walk, even when she wasn't using the walker. And Pearl has so much life in her.
So much.
So young. So I would tell her, you still walking like you walking with the walker. You gotta put it down, So, but Daryl is the one that got her off the walker. She go, I'm not gonna go there and let Daryl see me on that walker. Very good. So we're gonna give all the credit to Daryl.
You know what happened though? After I saw the people that were at the show, after afterwards, when I was in the lobby, they asked me, I guess, to come and take a picture. And as I was coming down the little corridor, who was the only person in the corridor was Pearl, coming from the bathroom. So we saw each other, and she didn't have to walk. It was just so amazing to see her isolated.